In 1098, during the First Crusade, a small Syrian city found itself under siege by European Christian armies. Its name was Maarat al-Numan. Today, most people don't know much about it, and even those who do have probably heard about it in connection with the shocking story of cannibalism. And this episode is all about the city of Maarat al-Numan. Here we go. Thousands of civilians were killed. Men, women, even children. Behind me is an old stone building which, according to some sources, may have been used as a hospital during the siege of 1098. That is pretty grim. I guess if you have to pick a building, then it might as well be a hospital. They marched along the Orontes River valley looking for food. The Crusaders stormed the city and killed thousands of civilians, men, women, and children. It was a terrible shock for the people of Maarat al-Numan. They couldn't understand why the Crusaders had spared their lives during the siege, only to slaughter them once the city fell. For them, it was an unprovoked attack of hatred and violence. But the thing to remember is that these people were real. They weren't monsters. And even though they committed terrible atrocities, they were still capable of remorse. After 15 days, they reached Maarat al-Numan and decided to lay siege to the city. Well, over the centuries, their stories got mixed with the legends. People started talking about the city as a place of horror. The name Maarat became synonymous with brutality and evil. But that wasn't entirely true. In the 18th century, it was hit by a devastating earthquake that killed thousands of people. In the early 20th century, it was occupied by French colonial forces, and now it's been hit by a civil war. According to the accounts of Crusader chroniclers, the Muslim governor refused to surrender the city or negotiate a peace deal. War. The museum was looted and vandalized. But during the Civil War, farmers couldn't take care of their fields, and the production dropped dramatically. They have a proverb that goes, "A believer has 70 veils of modesty and light." And they apply this belief to their lives. For them, this means that no matter how bad things get, they can always find a reason to hope for a better future. All of this makes me very sad because the city has so much to offer. It has a unique history and a vibrant culture. It's a beautiful city with a stunning natural setting and friendly people. Many of the artifacts were stolen or destroyed beyond repair. It was a place where people of different religions and backgrounds lived together in relative harmony. In medieval times, the city flourished. The Arab geographer al-Idrisi described Maarat al-Numan as a large city of 30,000 households. The city was known for its beautiful gardens, bustling marketplaces, and magnificent mosques. Sure, those things happened here, but so much more has happened here. It's a place where people lived and loved and made things, and where nature is beautiful. It's a city that deserves to be remembered, and its story deserves to be told. We have to listen to it. Otherwise, we risk repeating the same mistakes. It was also a center of learning and scholarship. In the 12th century, the city was home to a number of madrasas and libraries. He wanted to defend it at any cost. However, this wasn't actually the case. He was born blind and spent most of his life in a monastery. But even though he never left Maarat, he traveled the world through his writing. Because of the Crusader siege, Maarat al-Numan lost much of its significance as a trading post. The city's economy declined, and many of its residents fled, never to return. The city's population declined sharply, and it never recovered to the same extent. His masterpiece, the Book of the Luminous Pearls, consists of 4,000 rhyming couplets and describes the cultures and customs of more than 70 countries. Abu al-Ala al-Mari was a pioneer of secular thought and a champion of reason and justice. He challenged religious dogma and criticized social injustice and oppression. The Muslim ruler of Maarat, al-Numan, didn't want to fight. He tried to flee the city in disguise. But when he was spotted, the Crusaders threatened him with execution unless he handed over the city. So he surrendered it to them. European Christian armies had already seized Jerusalem and were moving westwards. They were on their way back home, but they were starving. They needed supplies, and they heard that the city of Antioch, across the Orontes River, had food. So they crossed the river and laid siege to Antioch. The locals resisted, but after 2 months, the city fell. The Crusaders killed almost everyone there. Anyway, I'm here with my friend and guide, Hassan, who knows everything about the history of this place. He's gonna show me around and help me get some answers. And after the city fell, some Crusaders reportedly boiled or roasted the bodies of the people they had just killed and then ate them. The Crusader chroniclers write about how they dug up the bodies of the dead and prepared them for eating. For example, there's this one fellow named Albert of Aix who described the horrors of Maarat al-Numan in detail. He wrote, "We ought not to omit or conceal the grievous sin which the army committed at a place called Mauritania, where they killed all the inhabitants, men, women, and children, and having stripped off their clothes, some they boiled, others they roasted, and some they broiled over a slow fire and ate them. Afterwards, certain pious persons who shuddered at this horrible repast asked that the bodies of those Christians who had been slain outside the city should be recovered and buried. This request was granted, and the bodies were carried out and buried outside the camp. But those who had been eaten were not given back. Most likely, they needed protein because they were exhausted, sick, and starving. The siege of Maarat al-Numan lasted for 12 days. During the last 4 of them, the Crusaders indulged in cannibalism. These people weren't monsters. They were ordinary men who had gone too far. It's impossible to justify their behavior, but it helps to understand it. Well, Maria is a town in northern Syria, close to the border with Turkey. Back in 1098, Maarat al-Numan was a thriving trading city with a diverse population of Muslims, Christians, and Jews. When the Crusaders arrived, the city was part of the Zengid dynasty, an Islamic state founded by the Seljuk Turkmen tribe. Under their rule, the city had enjoyed a golden age of prosperity and cultural exchange. Thanks to its strategic location along trade routes connecting the Middle East and the Mediterranean, the Zengi rulers were tolerant towards different religions and ethnicities, and promoted peaceful coexistence among their subjects. It lies at the foot of mountains on one side, and on the other side is a plain that leads down to the Orontes River. Back in ancient times, the city was known as Aphrodisias, and it was a prosperous commercial center. Today, it's a quiet city of about 60,000 inhabitants, famous for its beautiful pistachio. The whole thing sounds so bizarre that many people question its authenticity. Did it really happen? How could human beings behave like that? Well, yes, it did happen. And the Crusaders themselves wrote about it. That's why I visited the place today. I wanted to see where this happened, talk to the locals, and hopefully bring back some answers. This is a series where I explore current events through the lens of history. Hello and welcome. Here I am walking around in Maarat al-Numan in Syria. But first things first. Let's look at the big picture. Where exactly are we? What is this place all about? Now, let's get back to the history. But in 1098, that all changed. After sacking Antioch, the crusading army continued their advance south. Then the massacre began. And then the cannibalism began. In fact, the Crusader chroniclers themselves seemed horrified by what they had done. It's a strange and difficult text to read, especially the part about the Christians asking for the bodies to be returned. But what happened next? How did the people of Maarat al-Numan respond to this horrible event? Maarat al-Numan has a rich and diverse history. Long before the Crusaders came, the city was a bustling commercial center and a hub of cultural exchange. One of the most famous people born in Maarat al-Numan was the philosopher and poet al-Mari. But sadly, his books got banned and many of his works were destroyed. The city of Maarat al-Numan has seen better days. It suffered many setbacks over the centuries. Here I am visiting the ruins of Maarat Museum. It was established in 1932 and displayed artifacts from the region's rich history, such as sculptures, coins, and ancient manuscripts. As I mentioned, Maarat al-Numan is famous for its pistachio. It's considered the best in Syria. But despite all these setbacks, the people of Maarat al-Numan have never lost hope. As I wrap up this episode, I want to say that Maarat al-Numan is more than just a city of death and cannibalism. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment and let me know. I'm the host. See you next time.